I've been hearing about this tech. We'll start kicking ass with a book.
It's drying up. It's drying up quick if the distributors don't even have any.
Welcome back to the WINANDIN EP podcast. Today is episode 15. We have our usual beautiful co-host, Jonathan Wyatt. How are we doing?
Hey, Gabe. Doing well. How are you?
Very well. And then we also have a special guest today, the Market Watch analysis data guy himself, Staxwell. How are we doing?
I'm fantastic. What's going on, gamers?
Not a lot. Thank you. Today I'm Gabe Hohenstein, and I will be the host, and we'll be talking about mostly market updates and what we're doing in our off-season and how we're preparing, getting ready, and cards that we're planning on buying or selling. So let's start off with you, Jonathan. How was Thanksgiving holiday break?
Yeah, so been enjoying this off season. Thanksgiving just passed, so got to spend some time with my family, which is kind of nice. But also just kind of wrapping up my Pokemon journey in Pokemon Violet. So just as I mentioned before, the game's not that great. You got to play it because it's Pokemon.
Right. Totally fair.
So other than that, just kind of been hanging out, watching just what's going on with Flesh and Blood. Got the competitive team league, and then just buying some cards here and there.
Oh, very nice, very nice. How about for yourself, Staxwell? Do we have any big plans for this break?
No, I mean, I've been doing a lot of playing on Talishare, the team league, locals. I haven't slowed down or skipped a beat at all in this off season. I've just been grinding, and
Nice.
I don't plan on slowing down. I normally play aggro decks, so in this off season I've been playing Icelander, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's actually a deck that makes me want to wake up and play Flesh and Blood. So
Yeah, Icelander's got a deck that has like a lot of advantages, and it allows you to choose really interesting plays during your opponent's cycle, which is actually kind of nice and extremely disruptive. So I think that with Michael Hamilton winning, now everyone kind of has to play it. So it is kind of the deck to be looking at. What other decks do you kind of play outside of Icelander?
like I said, typically I just play aggro, so Fi and Briar are like the two decks I identify the most with.
Did you play with Fi or Briar during the last major event that you went to?
Yeah, I played Briar at the Calling for Worlds, but my Sonata Arcanixes did not like me when it mattered most. Two of them back to back.
That's the worst.
So I don't know. I kind of did it to myself. There was probably some other things I could have done, but I missed two Sonatas in a Briar mirror, and he lived by one at the end of it all. So I'm sure that game could have been won in another way, even with missing those. But I don't know.
Yeah, but when they hit, it's just
That's
magic, right? So
Yeah.
Do you play Tome in your deck then? The Tome of the Arknight? If you're filling the Sonata train?
No, I don't. But it was a good learning experience for me, because now I don't just Sonata if I could help it. I only like to pitch 2 into it, and then like I'll save a blue, pitch 2, Sonata for 4, just to give myself a little bit better odds. So I mean, I'm still learning. I'm still a new player. I just started playing when just right before Uprising came out. So I still have a long way to go. I won't say I'm a expert by any means.
cool.
That's awesome then. Was Briar your first deck that you got into when you first started playing?
Yeah.
Nice. Very good. Jonathan, how about for yourself? Do you have any new decks that you're going to be rolling into with this new off-season and then upcoming Season 3?
So I'm looking at quite a few decks. A lot of them just kind of around older heroes based off of what Dynasty kind of released. I would say that for me, probably the most interesting hero, I think, would probably be the Kano. So that's the hero that I'm looking to test with.
Oh, that's awesome. What cards make you want to go that route?
Here. We'll just go through the list real quick. Probably first and foremost was probably Aether Quickening. I thought that was kind of interesting as a way to kind of generate an on-hit of go again, and if you pull it off the top of your deck, it creates an action point if it's still your turn, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of cool, especially when you're also wanting to mix with wizard cards that you can play from hand. So I think just the surge mechanic in general is kind of what I'm looking for. And I also just really like the SAT promo that
Right.
Team Covenant got.
So, Kano, have you got to play any matchups with him yet in person?
Not really. I'm still waiting for my cards to come in. So that's kind of been my my first issue with Dynasty is just being able to get a hold of product in my area. You
Okay.
know, this is like the first time I've ever really deviated in a big way from my normal pattern. Just because I wanted to focus on buying singles. And yeah, I would only recommend doing that during an off season because it kind of sucks right now, just kind of twiddling my thumbs.
Definitely. So just because it's the off season, is that why you decided to deviate, or did anything else in particular happen that made you want to change the way things run?
You mean just with the buying sets in general? Well, I think the big thing is just like I was buying like 5 cases around a set that came out, and sometimes more. So just with the way that like set after set, it was just like okay.
Oh yeah, it gets a lot, especially once they start bumping.
Well, it was
them,
expensive, right? And then the way they kind of handled Fab 1.0 wasn't.
Yeah, no, most
Yeah,
definitely.
it wasn't fantastic, and so I've kind of reeled back, and I'm trying to make smarter decisions, I guess you would say, with what I'm purchasing. So, just buying singles, sticking to non-foils. I'm going up to Majestics and cold foils for like certain items that I just really absolutely need to have because of the class. But outside of that, I'm not really looking to buy every single card in the set anymore.
Nice. How about for you, Staxwell? Do you have any? Did you buy cases, or did you plan on just buying singles for the set?
I typically stay away from cases. Flesh and Blood's kind of unique in that the cases are actually fun to open. Like it's very flavorful and there's a lot going on, you know. So I do like get a case every set, but that's more for like just the fun of opening it than the economic value, because I know it's just not there. You're not going to make your money back on a case typically. So I try and stay away from it and just buy singles as much as I can.
Yeah, we had a friend that moved to Japan recently, and he was talking about how at his local game store, what they typically do in Japan is they buy 1 box for the gamble, and then they'll just buy singles for everything else, which I think is kind of interesting because, I think in Flesh and Blood, everyone kind of tries to buy the case and then get the singles because of the legendary, but I kind of like the idea of buying like 1 to 2 boxes just for the gamble aspect, but just kind of an interesting thought.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Well, especially like if you can get the cases that have the exclusive promos or playmats or sleeves, like that kind of makes it feel a little better, I think.
Yeah, and kind of to piggyback on like the general case topic, I know that most people kind of buy the 1 case because of the legendary essentially, but I think kind of one of the continuing problems that have happened with Flesh and Blood in general for me is just the collation of these cases. Sometimes you'll get cases that don't have a legendary at all, and that just absolutely sucks. But then sometimes you also get those cases that have 4 legendaries in them magically. And that's kind of still been an issue with the game, and I hope that they can fix that eventually. I think that just when you randomize packs in general, you're always going to have that kind of issue, human error. But yeah, like I think that's kind of also one of the reasons why it's worth it to gamble on the case, because you might hit that 4 legendary case on opening weekend. So.
Which would be so sweet. I mean, that happened to us in person at Worlds when we opened that 1 case of, what was it, Uprising?
Oh, yeah.
Remember at the very end of things?
Yeah, there were like 2 flame scale furnaces, like Coronet's Peak and something else.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's kind of like the worth it aspect of, purchasing a case on the release of any set. And also, I think a lot of the hype generated around the Marvel Emperor was that also kind of brought some excitement to people opening up product. So
well, yeah, that thing's sitting at $1,200 right now. That's like a crazy pull. If you can hit that, that's more than rent right there.
Yeah, it's a doozy. It is kind of high priced in my opinion, especially considering that playability is a huge factor in the pricing of cards. So right now, I think the only thing that's holding up the price is essentially the rarity factor right now. But I think as people, slowly realize and start playing more and more Blitz with this hero, that it's just not really super playable right now. So
that's fair. No, I definitely like the art of it. I like being able to flip it backwards, but I just don't think that can be justified for the price. So I would agree.
Yeah, the cold foil emperor is it's good enough, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, it's good enough, and those are pretty cheap at the moment too. So
Yeah.
I mean, potatoes.
Yeah, kind of interesting.
So for yeah,
Oh yeah, so just kind of wanted to ask you in general, Staxwell, what do you think of the Dynasty set as it is now, based off of what you're kind of doing as a market watch?
I don't. I wasn't around for the other supplemental sets, but just like looking at the market and the way things are with this set, it feels very similar to like Everfest, in that there's just not a lot of value there. Like if you look at all the legendaries, there's like one playable one maybe, and it's the Black Tech Whisperers, and then that card is only playable in a deck that's not even tier 1, you know. So it's like the whole top end of this set is just bad, and then the bottom end of this set, or like the Majestics and stuff, it's like there's some good Brute cards, but how good is even Brute? There's good Azalea cards, but how good is Azalea? Like I don't know, the set just didn't feel like it had the impact I wanted it to have. But it's a supplemental set, so I don't know if that's like the intended effect of the set, you know?
Yeah, I don't think they want anything to be game breaking on the release of these sets. They did give like some nice little power cards to help even out the curve for like these lesser played heroes, but even then, as you're kind of mentioning, it's not a lot. But kind of interested in your opinion, since I think all three of us here are actually pretty big Briar players. So I've been hearing about this tech, and I just wanted to get anything if you guys have been keeping your ear to the ground on the Crown of Dominion cash-in tech that people are running in Briar lately.
I don't think I know this one yet, so I'm all ears.
Well, it's not just a Briar tech. It's also a Runeblade tech, because some people are looking to expand upon it in Viscerai as well. But I think it's a little too hypey for me. But essentially, what you're doing is that since you're switching it out for Crown of Providence, which is the 2 damage and can counter against a CNC, but with CNC pummel being a thing, it may not be counterable. But also just with Crown of Dominion, you create a gold token and you just wait for your cash-in to hit, and then it's a 1-for-2 cards essentially, and it gets you halfway to your Embodiment of Lightning token. So it can get you you more than 2 damage worth of value, right? Of block value.
Yeah.
Actually go multiply out and attack value. So it also, if you don't get the cash in, you can also just pitch a blue to pay for the gold token and then draw a card off of that as well. So you still have 1 resource floating, the gold breaks, and then get a draw card. So just with how many blues you're also running, it's just another interesting thought.
No, that's awesome. Do you play just a 1-of for cash in then? Since you only have 1 gold?
It seems that's the case right now. It does sound like it's more in the exploratory phase, but it is something that I've been...
I like that though. That's
fun.
I've
heard a little bit more about it recently.
That's really fun.
So,
what are your thoughts on it, Staxwell?
I don't know if I'd play it all the time. I do think it sounds like an interesting sideboard against decks that Providence isn't good against, like against a Kano, you know? That seems like it could work. And then another thing to note is that the gold costing 2 could be paid for with Aether Ironweave.
Yeah, I feel like for me, like Crown of Dominion, if I were to play it in Briar, just from looking in on it now, I'd probably play it in like more aggro matchups. Just because,
no,
like,
I mean,
you can just sift through your deck a little bit faster.
Well, if you play against 5, where they're never going to block, if you can get that 5-card hand, 6-card hand, it's just game.
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
Your channel in those matchups, so I mean, it doesn't sound terrible. I haven't tested it, so I don't know, but
I mean, it sounds awesome.
So if you are looking at like a Crown of Dominion, yeah, definitely that is something that Briar players are looking into right now. But I will say that this is kind of our last season with her. So
isn't that so sad? That's so sad.
So
are both?
Give her one last tech to go with, right? Get one last ride, make it crazy.
Oh god, that's too fun.
Yeah,
I'm gonna miss her. Oh man. I mean, she's in Blitz though, so we could still play her in Blitz, right? We could do crazy tech in Blitz. Less cards, that means we'll see it quicker.
Yeah, I think that's also what I was thinking of, just because you also have the guaranteed 11 equipment sideboard. So, you know, if there is kind of that empty spot, you can use that. The only thing that I would say would be in contention with that is probably some spell void equipment, but I'm sure that there's a way that anyone could make it work, especially if this is the new tech. So I just thought that was kind of interesting, just in general. But yeah, Crown of Dominion is, at least for me, looking like the only legendary that I'm buying right now. So
okay, I haven't bought a single legendary yet. Like, I was looking at buying the Black Tech Whisperers, but I was gonna wait until ProQuest Season 3 is over to see if they go up or down. But I haven't committed to any cards in the set yet, minus a couple commons.
yeah, I would have to say that I'm actually avoiding Assassin the most right now, just because of how overpriced everything is. I feel like a lot of people look at the card or the cards that are available, and they like the novelty of the hero, but I don't know. In theory, the hero just doesn't look as strong as other heroes. So I could be proven wrong, but I feel like a lot of the pricing is just the novelty of the class.
No, I would agree completely.
Yeah, same. It's actually funny you mentioned the Crown of Dominion, because I think that's like the Marvel one specifically. I think is like the one good pickup from this set, because that's the one that I see as like the most like future potential. Like, they're not just gonna give up on the royal mechanic, and they're not gonna give up on gold synergies anytime soon. So I think I agree. Yeah, moving forward, I think that's the pickup, specifically the Marvel one.
Yeah, Upstart Goblin, right?
Right, yeah.
Derek Patel keeps talking about it, right? So I think I think that's just kind of a good thing to get into, and especially with Briar. I've definitely looked towards that card a little bit more recently this set. Otherwise, I've been looking towards the Wizard cards, the Brute cards, and some of the Runeblade cards. But I know that Runeblade's just kind of right now.
It's a lost cause now.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's sad just watching Briar fade off.
We'll start kicking ass with a book. So.
I hope so. Oh god.
Yeah, you never know.
So while you've done the market watch so far for this most recent one, Staxwell, like, so you talked about the Crown of Dominion, but do you think there's like a specific class in general that might be undervalued right now, or do you think it's all still just trending downwards?
I guess the Emperor is undervalued if you consider that a class. $11 for a legendary. I feel that card's gonna be broken
crazy,
one day.
right?
Like, it's bad right now, but they're just gonna keep printing more Warrior and Wizard cards, and they're gonna forget that card exists, and then one day there's just gonna be a broken synergy, and that card's gonna break Blitz.
It is kind of interesting with like Flesh and Blood 2.0. It's like we have the Emperor Rainbow Foil Legendary. That's like a $12 card. The Spirit of Irina. That's a $19 card for the Rainbow Foil Legendary, and Soraya is a $20 card for her Legendary Rainbow Foil. So it's like, I don't know, like all the legendaries that are out, they're like super dirt cheap for the lower end versions of them. So that is kind of nice as a player, but it also feels like you have to hit Majestic or high, or not Majestic, Marvel or higher in order to really get the value that you want out of this set. So it's, I don't know, I take issue with this set in more ways than that, but it is a concern right now, is that opening the sets don't really seem very viable.
I agree. I mean, it could just feel bad. You hit that one case with not even a legendary in it, and it's just this game over.
I almost feel like there's too much stuff in it. There's too many rarities at this point. I think that's probably a good way to kind of segment the topic into and push into this. So one of the things that I've kind of taken issue with, specifically with this set, and I know that this may be kind of like a controversial opinion, just in general, but there are 4 cards that they created a Rainbow Foil version, a Cold Foil version, and a Marvel version. So that's the Emperor, the Crown of Dominion, the Nitro Mechanoid, and Soraya. So all 4 of those cards have 3 different versions in them. And one of the issues I take with it is just that there's 3 different rarities of the same cards. and that's a lot to jumble up into, you know, one booster box in general, in my opinion. You know, just 12 different versions. So that's partial one of the issues I take, but the second issue I take with that in general is that the only policy that Flesh and Blood or LSS has basically taken with sets in general was around the cold foil policy. And my question just kind of revolves around, well, what is Marvel versus the cold foil? Because we know regular cold foil is what that looks like, but since they're printing cards with that same kind of rarity type within the same set, does that mean that they're separate things, or does that mean that they're the same thing? So like, I guess the question that I have is like, for any older cold foil variant, is there still the possibility of it being reprinted in Marvel?
Yes.
It's a hard one.
I think yes. I think Command and Conquer kind of confirms it, right? Like, would you be surprised if they reprinted, or not reprinted, newly, freshly printed a Marvel Spring Tunic? Like, that would be something I could see them doing.
Yeah, and like that's like one of the questions that I've just kind of asked people in general when looking at this policy is, how would you feel if they printed a Japanese Welcome to Wraith where all of the cold foil cards were printed in Marvel? And it was only a Japanese print set, so it'd be Japanese language. How would you feel about that product?
If you're asking me personally, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't care for it. That would be a slap in the face, I guess, to collectors.
Yeah, I think it absolutely would be a slap in the face for collectors. So, just in general, I would like for LSS to kind of state out like how they're handling the Marvel versus cold foil policy, because I think with this set, it really confuses some of that ground a little bit for the 4 cards I was speaking of specifically. That they printed both rarities in a single set. So like, what does that mean? Does that mean that they can do that again? Or for older sets, can they reprint Marvel versions, like for instance the Tunic, and that would be a huge slap in the face for people. So I would love for LSS to kind of give out their opinions on that policy, especially considering that MTG 30 has brought up interesting conversations with Magic around similar reprint policies. So I think basically solidifying how they're going to basically be producing in the future, I think that would be very helpful.
Well, I want some clarification on their reprint policy anyway, because didn't they say that they wanted to make every reprint uglier than the last?
Yeah, no, most definitely.
They said that, right?
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
So then why is Command and Conquer fabled?
Yeah, no, for sure.
And then
I thought that before.
I mean, if the argument is, oh well, Command and Conquer is a completely new card, it's the fabled Command and Conquer, new art, whatever, then it's like, what precedent does that set, you know? And then even with the last set, Scar for Scar, because haven't they already printed Scar for Scar white border? So then they reprinted it back to black in Uprising?
Which then can get foil.
No, it didn't come foil in Uprising.
It didn't?
No.
So that's...
But still, it went back to black. So is the possibility there for us to get a black border Tunic again?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, because like I know before Dynasty came out, the question was like, would they reprint with the rumors that a Command and Conquer Fabled was going to exist? The question that I came up with instantly was, well, can that Fabled come in rainbow foil?
Oh right, yeah.
So that was really my only question. I mean, it is what it is. LSS is going to decide what they want to do with the Command and Conquer. I don't agree with what they did. Personally, because it being like the first actual playable Fabled, you know, and it's just the most playable card in the game. Yeah, it's just that it's almost unobtainium at this point. So, honestly, that's like probably one of my only issues with the game. Is just I want to own everything. So,
do you think it's a good pickup to pick up the Command and Conquers, or? So I mean, like, there's never gonna be that many on the market at all times, with it just being the favorite.
Not at 450 a card.
Because you need at least 3.
I wouldn't pick it up. Like, people buy those kind of cards long term, like way later down the line, based on nostalgia, and they're not gonna look at this art of Command and Conquer and think like, oh, that's Flesh and Blood. You know, they're gonna look at the OG Command and Conquer and that's going to be Command and Conquer to everyone. This is not Command and Conquer to everyone.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point because like at 450 for one Fabled Command and Conquer, while it is cold foil and that's really cool. I mean, you could just go back and buy the first edition playset. So three of them for the same price.
Yeah, like even looking at like Pokemon, you know, when you think of Charizard, the card Charizard, there's been so many Charizards printed, but you only think of that one art. You only think of that one art for Blue Eyes White Dragon. You like those original arts, the nostalgia art is like what people want. And I don't think this Command and Conquer is gonna do well long term.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting, like just with the Flesh and Blood 2.0, how they're kind of going with the rarities now. So I wonder if Command and Conquer was almost kind of like a test to see like, well, what's the appetite for this kind of card if we reprinted an older version in a Fabled. So maybe they could do something with Enlightened Strike, but in my opinion, I think that would also just be another miss. So yeah, just overall, yeah, just one of those things I just don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't want to talk down on Dynasty. I do like all the rarities. I do like the Marvels. Like this set, like these Fab 2.0 sets are, in my opinion, significantly more fun to open from like a, I don't know, from like a flavor perspective than the older like Welcome to Wraith and stuff like that. I think these sets are a lot cooler and a lot more hidden gems within it, I guess you could say.
Yeah, for sure. And I think some of the reasons why it may seem a little negative is just because of like the boredom of like there being an off season as well. So it's just we have you know, we have a lot more time to like kind of think and mull over these topics that have kind of just been sitting in the background. So just kind of revisiting that during an off season, you know, it may seem as like a little overly negative. But yeah, I think these sets are never really meant to be like the sets that are supposed to blow people away. These sets are basically used to shore up any problems that have essentially happened throughout the year of like the meta changing. So these sets aren't supposed to like, you know, make the waters just real crazy right now. So
right, yeah, just beef up the classes. So I got a topic that's a little more different, if we're cool to switch over, because we're talking about collecting cards right now and just the viability of Flesh and Blood 2.0. But I want to bring it back to Flesh and Blood like 1.0, or just the classics, the original of Welcome to Wraith Alpha, as well as the first edition of Arc. Because I was looking at the prices earlier today. So like, I don't know if you guys know much about the print runs of either of those, but the data is public out
like
there.
16.7.
On the money, yes, exactly. Yeah, for both of them. So both sets had that many boxes, but the price discrepancy between each is like $3,000 per box, almost, or more like $2,000.
Man, I've been looking. I love this game too much. I'm addicted.
Oh, that's too good. Like, because what are your thoughts about like, so like the last sold Alpha box for like, you know, Welcome to Wraith sold for $3,400, but the last sold Arcane First Edition box sold for $1,275.
I mean, yeah, I've always thought that Arcane Rising would probably be the box that I would rather purchase if I was confronted with buying 2 of Arcane Rising or 1 of Welcome to Wraith.
Right.
You know, Welcome to Wraith, the thing that carries is as the first, which I guess is a huge deal. But if you're looking for value as an investment, I would definitely tell you to go Arcane Rising route, since it is the sim front run. Also, I have Ophidia as a Fable. But since I would want to be since I would want to be opening them, I wouldn't really be buying them as an investment. But yeah, I think it just kind of hurts that these Welcome to Wraith booster boxes, they keep on rising in price. But yeah, it doesn't seem to make sense for me on the first edition side. But you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
What do you think, Staxwell? I think the WTR versus Arcane Rising debate kind of goes back to what I was saying about Charizard. It's the first one, you know, it's Tunic. No one remembers like what came out in the second Pokemon set. I couldn't tell you, but we all know where Charizard came from. That was the first one. You know, we all know where Blue Eyes White Dragon came from. That was the first set. So I think it will always just be more expensive just on that alone. Those iconic cards like Tunic, E-Strike, Mask of Momentum, those are the Charizards of this game.
So you're telling me that Mr. Mime from Jungle wasn't a big deal to you? No.
See, I didn't even know it came in jungle, so I don't know.
Oh man.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm
Well-
super old school. I'm just showing my age now.
I was about to say, I was like, I know Jonathan knows the second set. He'll say it by heart. But like, so even like unlimited. So unlimited Welcome to Earth boxes are 58, but the Arc ones are like 120 now. So it's like it's completely swapped when it comes to the unlimited version.
I think the unlimited WTR is so undervalued right now.
Right?
Dude, I talked to one of my LGSs and I'm like, let me get a case of WTR. He's like, oh, I don't have any, but I'll talk to my distributor for you. And he got back to me a few days later. He's like, yeah, my distributor doesn't even have any.
Really?
So that's like a sign, you know, like it's drying up. It's drying up quick if the distributors don't even have any.
All right, we're gonna need to cut this segment so that I can.
Yeah, no, right. We need to keep.
Let me buy my case and then we'll talk about it again. Give me 1 second. No, but I do think you're right with that. I mean, just kind of, talking along with that subject is like my question is with Unlimited being over and Fab 2.0, we've been in it for a considerable amount of time. At what point do we get the print run numbers of these like Unlimited, Welcome to Wraith, Arcane Rising, and Crucible of War sets? Because like I think to me that will help paint another picture along with first edition Monarch and first edition Tales. That it could set the market in a frenzy, or it could be, hey, these products have dried up, and like so that means that basically what happened to Monarch and Tales, like that there might not be as much product there, something like that. So I am interested to seeing when they're going to release those numbers and what they're saying, but it couldn't happen any quicker. I'm hoping they do something.
Yeah, I don't know. Just on that unlimited WTR being too cheap, like I don't know, those cards, those iconic cards like Tunic and E-Strike and Heart of Fendal, like I could see Tunic being $1,000 card. Like that's not even unrealistic to me. The Rainbow's Tunic being 1,000, and E-Strike being like $200 for just like a non-foil one. Like I could see all of that stuff happening.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy.
I mean, just with the Worlds ending, Heart of Fyendal and Fyendal Spring Tunic both kind of saw rises in their price. That were testing upward limits, but they're still kind of high priced, but it does go to show that there's not a lot out there. So I think there is opportunity there, especially on the unlimited side. For a while, I was kind of wondering why Enlightened Strike was staying around $20 a pop when
I picked up a set of foil for $40 each foils, not even like a month ago.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, and it's like that's the thing is like usually the thing that drives price down is playability, but the Oldhim, Icelander, and Fi were all playing 3 copies of Enlightened Strike.
Yeah, so were all the rogue decks. It's like a 3 of in almost every deck.
Yeah, that was like something that the market just wasn't, I guess, ready for, but that was kind of like a really good buying opportunity just kind of in the recent past that kind of shocked me myself, so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my only regret on that is not getting more.
All right.
That seems to be a constant
sure.
regret in this game, right? So you got to get more. So like,
right, yeah.
With that being said, like, outside of Dynasty, are there any sets that you're looking towards as like possible buying opportunities, or
WTR Unlimited?
Yeah, even selling opportunities. Like, what are your buys and what are your sells right now?
You're saying like what set would I sell if I had them all sealed? You're saying,
or like what not necessarily sell in your personal collection, but what do you think is something that's probably overvalued or undervalued? I guess is.
Yeah, assassin cards are overvalued. I don't think those should be anywhere near what they are. Like when Skullbone Crosswrap is rainbow foil is only like $30, and how is Black Tech Whispers $100 for the rainbow? It doesn't really add up to me when they're both like on a similar power level, those decks. I guess just because it's new, but I think all that stuff's overvalued.
Yeah, don't you just love that the cold foil Mask of Perdition's $200?
Yeah, and
So
surgical extraction non-foil is like what, $35, $40, something like that.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
But definitely overvalued. I think a lot of the cards in WTR, like the rares and commons, also Arcane Rising, are undervalued. Like Foil Snatch, foil Ravenous Rabble, foil Snapdragon Scalers, things like that. Like we seen Sink Below, that's the card I'm thinking of, go to like $20 for a rainbow foil. I don't know if you guys seen that. And I'm almost certain Snatch is going to take the same route. Ravenous Rabble is going to take the same route. These cards are timeless to me. And even if they become bad, Snatch will still be one of those cards that's just iconic, you know?
Especially if you have a pink one.
Yeah, funny that you mentioned that. Yeah.
So
like during this off season, I myself, you know, for the most part, like how I categorize things in the sell category, a lot of like what I think is going to go down in price and what I think is typically overvalued kind of revolves around Dynasty, unfortunately, just because it's like, as you mentioned, Assassin. But then like when I'm looking towards opportunities to buy right now, what I've actually been pushing towards a little bit more is just that Welcome to Wraith Alpha, the pink foil, or not, the pink strip cards. So I've been buying foils and non-foils of those cards as often as I can, just because, you know, seeing the pink strip at the top, I think, you know, it definitely generates a specific reaction from people. And
no, it's a good pickup. All the pinks.
Yeah, I think to your point, just in general with Welcome to Wraith Unlimited, you know, Alpha is just gonna have that timeless feel for people, and if what we believe of more Magic people are going to be joining Flesh and Blood and be looking to put their money and park their money into our game, I think that would also be somewhere that someone would be interested in, whether they have the money. And I think, considering that some of these cards you can get for less than $5 a piece, yeah, I think it doesn't take too long for people to realize that chasing the rainbow foil deck for every single hero, you know, the money that could be saved in just getting the non-foil version and putting your money into like Welcome to Wraith Alpha or something like that, I think will just be better in the long term. And yeah, again, these pink strip cards are rare, right? Only 16.7k packs, so if you can even get your hands on a rainbow foil version of these cards, it's gonna be big in the future, right? And these cards will always be playable.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting to think like what will go up, you know, because games like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, they have a Charizard, or they have a Blue Eyes White Dragon or Dark Magician or whatever. But a game like Magic, it doesn't have that flagship hero card. It doesn't have that flagship IP monster that they're looking at. And a weird card that just was a resource generator, Black Lotus, is like the poster child for, you know, Magic collectors, right? So it's just weird to think through that lens, like what's going to be the Black Lotus of Flesh and Blood, and it could be something like E-Strike, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting. I've always thought of it more as the Spring Tunic myself, but I know some people have even considered the Heart of Fyendal as like that, the Black Lotus. So I think that's kind of the interesting thing, is like it may not even be like one card; it could be a collection of cards, which.
Well, it's like your Power 9. You used to have your Power 9 of Fab.
Right.
Yeah, right. But it's something that changes. It's something that definitely changes over time. And like, you know, something that I think has like kind of fallen off the radar for a lot of people was like a card like Last Ditch Effort, which was something that I've kind of put on my speculation goggles on for this one. And I've actually bought.
I don't even know what that card does. Hold on, I gotta look it up. I'm sorry. I'm still
speculation goggles. We got a new piece of equipment, baby.
Okay, so for those that don't know, we're pulling it up here. You know, Last Ditch Effort.
It'll be on the screen as well.
Yeah, Last Ditch Effort. It came out in Welcome to Wraith. It is in the super rare slot. So when you play Last Ditch Effort, if you have no cards in your deck, it gains 4 attack power and go again, and it hits for 4 already. Right, and it costs 3 to play, and it's a blue pitch. So, like, just a card that not a lot of people have been really looking at. It's kind of a weird card. You know, when we play Flesh and Blood, especially now, like, I don't think we're necessarily looking to fatigue decks entirely and mill out everything in existence. But a hero that was looking to play this in the past was Chain. Possibly, and it maybe been a little bit hyphy of a deck, since you can kind of pitch stack and see where the end of your deck's going. So I think with the prospect of a new Shadow Runeblade hero coming, I think that this card could be playable. And considering that it's not only Alpha but Welcome to Wraith, and it's at $6, while, you know, other cards for their non-foil variants are like $25 for Alpha Welcome to Wraith. yeah, I think that not only is it undervalued because it's generic, but it could be super playable, and I definitely picked it up as a buying opportunity, just with purchasing alpha and having more time on my hands. So
No, I think that's like part of the beautiful thing of not having set rotations is that like surface level, this card is so bad, last ditch effort. You're just like, oh, on its best day, it's a 0 for 8. You know, Wounded Bull's already that, but or a 3 for 8. Sorry, Wounded Bull's already that. But it's like unknown synergies in the future, right? Like you said, a future Shadow Runeblade could just make this card go crazy price. And that Runeblade might even come out for 10 more years, right? What if 10 years down the line that Runeblade comes out? This card could be $100 super, you know? You don't know.
Hold the line, Jonathan. Hold the line.
yeah, I mean, I'm holding it. I'm holding it, but I don't know if I'm strong enough, Gabe.
For 10 years, you got that. You got that. It's easy. Man.
Well, the thing you have going for you is even if you wanted to sell them, I'm not sure you could. No one wants it. It's only like 25 cents, right? It would just be bulk.
Yeah, for the unlimited. I would only.
Oh, well, you're saying the alpha. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would only make a play on the alpha right now for this card, just because like it does have the rarity aspect going for it. You know, just in general, Tome of Fyendel for a non-foil, it was like close to $70 a pop for you know, non-foil Majestics, right? But the
You're saying for the alpha one?
Yeah, so for the alpha last ditch effort rainbow foil, it was around the same price. It was $80 a card for rainbow foils. So I bought a playset of those.
Oh wow, okay.
And like just generally speaking, for rainbow foil super rare, since super rares essentially hit as often as rainbow foil majestics and Welcome to Wraith, and those rainbow foil majestics go for $1,000 for the Enlightened Strike, and then for some of them they go for 120 a pop for rainbow foil super rares, regardless of class. I think that just being a generic in general and being a super rare foil, there could be opportunity in it. Now I'm not saying like, you know, liquidate your assets and buy cardboard rectangles. That's not what I'm telling you. It's just something that I've looked at as a possible buy opportunity. Again, like most of the money that I've actually put into Flesh and Blood recently with Alpha has been revolving around pink strips and pink strip rainbow foils. So I definitely think that's more of a play, just because like, but you know, pink strips have gotten to the point where they're not even bulk, like they can't even be considered bulk anymore. And like at a certain point of this game, the Welcome to Wraith Alpha bulk is not, you know, it's not your typical bulk. So.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely. It's just like with Alpha, with or even Beta or Unlimited for Magic, the lands, like the basic lands, like not even considered bulk. You can grade those and get a pretty penny. Crazy, it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to be able to buy one of these booster boxes for a really reasonable price sometime in the future. But just right now, I think there's a lot of opportunity in singles, and while a lot of people are keeping their eye on some of the more recent stuff like Dynasty that's coming out, and like looking to purchase things like Marvels there. I mean, when you're looking at possibly purchasing a Majestic Marvel Rock for $100, or you could get the non-foil for $2, and then the difference you could just put into something else that a lot of people aren't looking at, but we know is popular. So there could always be opportunity there. So just something that I've been considering during the off season.
No, I love that. Do you own any Alpha Staxwell?
I don't.
Of that nature?
No, I don't. But hearing Jonathan talk about it, he does make some good points. I just looked up Snatch while he was talking about it, and I'm like, that's not terribly priced.
Yeah. So unfortunately, Snatch is it's $20 a pop. I feel like for the non-foil reds.
And the foil is $125. Yeah.
Yeah. So before Worlds happened, that was actually what I was looking to buy. So I bought most of the reds, non-foils, and even the rainbow foils. So yeah, just with how much I play Briar and all that kind of stuff, it's like those cards, they're good. And something that I think is almost kind of like a crime of how cheap it is. So anyone listening, this you may go in and buy some of these, but Scar for a Scar pink non-foils, those are going for around $5 a pop. some of them even less. Like, I don't know. It just feels like a really good buy, considering how much people are playing Scar for Scar now, and how much that card will probably be seeing play in the future. Just because a 0 for 4 go again is going to be huge in this game. So $5 a pop for a bit of history, I think is definitely worth it, considering how much people are willing to put into Flesh and Blood in general. So that can be the case for something like Unmovable, that is also $5 a pop. And as far as generic defense reactions that block tall, that's our only option. Otherwise, we're stacking 2 0 for 4s, right? like that's the thing, right? Is like there's some of these cards that's like they may not be seeing like a ton of play right now, but like there aren't any other options for good value cards like that are that old and that rare. So I think there's a little bit of opportunity there, and I just to keep the list going, I think Pummel would also be another great card.
Oh yeah, Pummel's just so fun. I mean, like it feels. The best.
I mean, Command and Conquer Pummel is just the nastiest combo in the game, and yeah, I think it should go.
Oh my god, I love that. Oh, okay, let's see. So, Staxwell, when you're since you're newer to the game with like newer sets, are you planning on like collecting the cards, like just building up an arsenal of everything you can play, or do you plan on just like investing it? Because I know you talk about the market watches. Like, for yourself, what's your personal goal with the market watches?
Honestly, I just seen that there was a hole for that content, and I would watch and enjoy that content for other games, and I just felt like this game needed it, and so I started making it not. I mean, I'm doing the research and I'm looking at the market myself anyway, so I might as well just record it and put it on YouTube, just so other people have easier access to the content. And I really like Flesh and Blood, and I really want it to grow, and I think it's in the early stages still, and I don't even think it's hit its big boom yet. And I want to get it to that point. I want to help get it to that point. I want to help Fab reach a larger audience.
Yeah, that's interesting that you kind of mentioned that, because like I feel like there is like some sort of like a historian role within this game that will be like really important and vital to have, because like just with how like kind of the older sets worked and Unlimited and Alpha and all that kind of stuff, like even now like buying first edition cards from people like can kind of be difficult because they'll send you the Unlimited.
Right. I used to think the same thing, because there's not a lot of information out there. You see the solid circle at the bottom, and you're like, oh, it's first ed.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like a lot of that changed like with Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising, which is why like I kind of pushed towards buying a lot of those first edition sets, because like if people in LGSs that have been around for a while and that I know invest in this game, if their employees can't even get it right, then like there might be less of this stuff, or even more buying opportunities in other areas because people don't know what they're selling, to where like there's like a heck of a lot of opportunity there. So like just that confuses people, and then like with Crucible of War, how they changed it to where first edition was the filled in circle,
Right.
and then Unlimited was like the ring. Like I don't know, even that level of confusion, it just messes with people's minds, and like
And then now there's not even a first edition.
Yeah, exactly. So like being able to like know that and navigate around cards like in previous sets, I think will be more important as time goes on. So again, I'm already seeing kind of the ramifications of that. I've been buying first edition cards, and like they'll send me Unlimited, and I just have to send it right back. So it's unfortunate, but it could spell opportunity.
Yeah, another spot that's lacking is, I told you guys I somewhat recently started playing, and there's like a lot of old promos that I like and I want to pick up. Like, just for example, the Rainbow Heroes. Why are some Rainbow Heroes $300, $400, $500, and then some Rainbow Heroes like Prism are $5? Well, it's like, it's complicated. They were all promos for different armories or different callings or whatever, and it's just like there's not a good record of where they all came from.
I just want the Scar promos.
Right, yeah. I don't even know where those came from.
I think it was Team Covenant or one of those.
Yeah, that was Team Covenant. So unfortunately, I think those are in the hands that want them.
Oh god, they're so good though.
Personally, for me, I don't really like that promo. The only Team Covenant promo that I've like really just been hype on was the SAT promo that just came out. I just love that they're like kind of putting Wizard into like this whole like groovy psychedelic vibe kind of thing, and like I don't know, like I'm gonna start playing it more because of that. So
No, I love that.
I also
I like
Oh no,
yeah,
go
for
ahead.
it,
Sorry.
No, it's my bad.
Oh no, I don't even like that. That they get special promos to give out. How is that even fair? Because it puts you in this weird spot. It's like, well, I want to support my LGS, but I don't want to just not get a promo. You know?
yeah, I mean that kind of brings up another topic that I've been mulling about recently. It's not fully fleshed out, but just in general, like I've been kind of disappointed with how LSS has handled like these extended art cards, because as you mentioned, Staxwell, like they're giving certain content creators these cards, um, and it seems like they just give them out whenever to whoever, but there is like a short list that seems to constantly receive them, as well as they're printing out majestic versions in the sets, and those seem to like whenever they hit the market, they start at 100, but they always go down to like 20 or less, like the longer that they've been out. And then they expect us to go to these armories and like settle with one promo for $10 event or what have you. But like there's not a shortage of these extended art cards that we're seeing like in more recent times, and in all honesty they seem to be a bit overprinted. But like some of the older ones that are like kind of underprinted, or like were printed in the early 2000s when like they thought their game wasn't gonna it was gonna take a little bit more time to get rolling. Like there is opportunity there, but like yeah, I've just been kind of disappointed with like the extended arts, and like I don't know, I feel like they need to like stop handing out as many to the content creators and let it be an LGS thing.
No, most definitely.
But that's just
Yeah, another kind of, I don't know, they give it to the content creators that are just the biggest, and not even like they give it to Alpha Investments, who isn't even like a passionate Flesh and Blood player. He's not even a Flesh and Blood YouTube channel. He's a Magic YouTube channel that will touch on Flesh and Blood sometimes, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just clearly for just promotion.
Yeah. No, I definitely think they should. Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, dude, Gabe, no, you go, man.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was just gonna bounce off of what you said. Like, it should go to the stores, because like Flesh and Blood's meant to be Flesh and Blood, not content creators. Like, the goal of the game was to get people in stores and playing and meeting, and online content creators not necessarily do that. Like, they don't provide the venue for people to build the game and grow the game. They just shell it.
All right, so this is kind of this topic's also hot off the presses. So like I'm also gonna ask questions, but like generally from what I understood, Rudy is not like, we don't know how much he's invested into the LSS, but he is an investment partner with LSS, correct?
Yeah, no, I'm fairly positive.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
As far as I understood, he was partially invested, but I mean,
no, I'm pretty positive. The first couple of videos when he
even if he isn't, for how much LSS has not only given him but put into his channel, and how much that symbiotic relationship has worked, I've been really surprised with all the MTG 30 videos that he's released. That the first video where he mentions another TCG in general, it's frickin' Pokemon and not Flesh and Blood.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I've been like a little shocked, because like even like the Magic Historian, when he's talking smack about MTG 30, he's getting in packages from MetaZoo that are like sponsoring him. So like when he live streams like outside of his major videos, which he also promotes, he's showing off, oh, here's MetaZoo, right? Like, here's something else you can park your money while you stay mad at MTG. And it's like, I feel like for it being like the best time to kind of put eyes on our game, like it does kind of shock me a little bit that someone who is a maybe investor and definitely a big part of the game, how they haven't really been able to even say a word about Flesh and Blood.
Yeah,
so
that would make so much more like it's like, I don't know, that's what they should be doing, right? Like the best play they could have. Well, like, give them like some special promo to give out during these times.
Right. I mean, yeah, from my perspective, I do the market watches, and part of the reason I do it is because, I want people investing in this game, and I want people getting the most bang for their buck for it, right? So when I tell people, oh, Dynasty's coming out, you guys should buy a case, I have to mention, oh, you should probably buy a case from one of the featured content creators that you'll get a special extended art version of a card from. And then, so I make a video and I put it out, and then I had someone at my LGS say, like, oh, well, where do I even go to get that? I'm like, oh, well, Alpha Investments has, they have an extended art promo or whatever that you could get. Who's that? You wouldn't know, because they don't make Flesh and Blood content.
Right? And then to even, like, get his stuff, you have to be a patron. So you have to do, like, another hurdle, but then he doesn't have he has his Patreon closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only so many spots in
original.
his Patreon that you can even get it from.
Dude, and that stuff sells out pretty quick, too. I'm curious.
Oh, it does.
I'm curious on how many...
It took me, like, 3 months to get
Dude,
one.
that guy, he's making money hand over fist. But yeah, as far as, like, an exclusive item for Dynasty, the one that I was looking at was that Leave No Witnesses, but, like, I feel like all, like, the thirsty guys that are into card games, once that card got
Okay,
spoiled,
but it looks so good. It looks so good.
Yeah, like, yeah, put a white-haired girl with, like, green eyes on anything, and it's like, yeah, you'll get all the anime lovers, like...
Oh my god.
Yeah, in Yu-Gi-Oh! We would call that waifu tax. Any card that had a waifu on it, you had to pay a premium for. I don't know if you consider these waifus because they're not like specifically anime, but you're still paying that tax for that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like talking about the extended art Majestics, like Iron Song Pride is like $50, and the other ones are like at 20 or 30 because it's like.
Right.
Is that because people love Dory, or is that the waifu tax? I don't actually know.
Probably both.
We're gonna have to hop both of those topics on there.
Oh man. Back to the content creators like giving out the promos. Do you know if TCG had one this time around?
No.
Usually they have a couple good ones. I didn't see them do one.
Because I seen, or are you talking about like how Breaking Point was theirs last time?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they do the playmats occasionally.
Yeah, I didn't see anything. If there was, I missed it, and I have like email notifications on for them, so I doubt I would have missed it.
So I was kind of surprised about that too, that somehow they didn't make the mark this time around.
Yeah, I'm curious about that, but I don't know. Maybe it was like something to do with like the whole Channel Fireball TCG player thing. Maybe LSS needs to like redo the contract, so because it's now they're one entity and all that kind of stuff. So maybe we'll see something with the next major set release.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe just because it was smaller and supplemental, not as much stuff to go
so
around.
Now this is just like we can move past this point pretty quickly, but like I was talking to a friend, and he was saying that the next major set, how crazy would it be if they did a Monarch 2, and that's how they released the new Prism and Chain.
That'd be sweet. I would love that. I would love to play Chain.
And then they can expand.
Yeah, I can see.
They can expand upon the talent of Shadow and Light, but for 2 new classes as well.
That'd be sweet.
Right, it'd be like a return to Monarch.
Yes, yeah. You get the 2 new heroes, and then you get 2 new classes with new talents, right? And it's like that'd be pretty sick, right? But yeah. I don't know. I feel like the tinfoil hat is just like on everybody's head during off season because like that's when we're all kind of we're stewing.
Well, they've confirmed that a Shadow Ridblade and a Light Illusionist are coming next year, right?
Yes, but we don't know whether that's going to be in the expansion set next year or if that's going to be like in a product like Classic Battles, how they did Dory versus Rhinar. They could release Classic Battles Chain versus Prism, but like for the new heroes.
Yeah, that's a good idea. They actually might do that. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and then they can include the adult hero and the young hero in Cold Foil or Rainbow Foil, right? Depending on how they want to release those. But
yeah.
But like with that being said, like they need to really figure out how they're gonna handle these adult hero cold foils in the future because like they have them for some pro quests, some pro tours, and then all of a sudden it's like for this one you just get a freaking coin and some sleeves.
Feels bad.
Yeah.
At least a metal fab.
Yeah, that one was kind of disrespectful, man.
It feels like
this next season is just a gold token.
Yeah, it's a slap in the face
because
it's like especially when like it felt like a lot of the reason why people were playing like really heavily in the beginning was like because like the extended art rainbow foil tunics that were out, and then like these cold foil heroes that were like $200 to $300 a pop, and now they're like gone, and like I don't know. People are, people aren't. People notice this stuff, right? Like,
Right? Oh man, see, someone should have asked that to James White during the questionnaire.
Well, we didn't know what was coming in the
True, but they didn't do it for
Surprising.
the ProQuest Season 2, so they could have asked
yeah,
for that.
where's my rainbow foil extended art Arcanite skull cap?
Ooh, I didn't even
That's a
think of
good
that.
question. Yeah.
Like,
It's a great question.
I don't know. Like, I got a lot of great questions, guys. You should tune in more often.
Best we can do is a dull cap.
Yeah, but like that's the thing is like
God.
they, these cards are important to people, and like they've shown that hey, we had like a thing going, like we had an idea, but we just scrapped this one, right?
Mhm.
So like I don't know, like I feel like an extended art rainbow foil Arcanite skull cap and an extended art rainbow foil crown of Providence, like those could be something in the pipeline for major events that could generate a lot of hype.
It would be sweet.
Yeah, and I feel
Providence is so sweet.
and I feel like heck, like a cold foil Arachne would have been like a great handout for top 8 at this next ProQuest.
I thought that was like a shoo-in. I thought that was just a given. I didn't even think it was up for debate. And then they said, "Oh no, it's just sleeves." It's like what?
Or heck, like release your rainbow foil Emperor and then your Marvel Emperor. Get rid of the cold foil slot in the middle and make that your prizing for another event. It's like they're wasting like these slots. I feel like I don't know. I don't want to sound like too much of like a salty like flesh and blood player because like or even investor because like most of what I want to do is just play this game for as cheap as possible and then collect the stuff that I enjoy outside of that. But like it does feel like there's some inconsistencies that we've seen just with their promotional model and some of these set releases that I think could do with a little bit of work or revising.
No, for sure. I mean, like, because what, Nationals, that's when they did Defy and Icelander and Dromai. Kind of forgot about that. Because, like, do you think they'd do Arachne and all those then for the next Nationals?
Yeah, those
season?
Well, I think
those rainbow
next
foil
RTN will have a new set, right?
Yeah, we should have a new set. But those rainbow foil adult heroes for Phi, Icelander, and Dromai, like those rainbow foils are like 120 or so like a pop because they were only handed out at the world premiere event.
Yeah.
And then but previously the rainbow foil heroes were like either given out as promos at armories or handed to you at like buy a case promos with unlimited, right? So like I don't know. I feel like there's some things that like I think LSS has not necessarily figured out how they want to do these promos, and it feels like whoever the promo guy is just like, all right, I'm gonna change it up every set, right? And it's like you can just like have a plan and structure for this, and then like once you create that structure and those rules, it basically manages itself, and then you can focus on your other job too, which we would love to see T-shirts and like baseball hats, but it's like all I'm saying is that like
deck boxes.
All I'm saying is that this stuff could do with a little bit of structure at the end of the day, right? So
I liked how they did the promos for Uprising. The Rainbow Heroes were promos for entering big tournaments, and the Cold Foil Heroes were promos for winning RTN. I thought that was a really clean way to do it, and I thought that set the standard moving forward, but then they surprised us with some sleeves.
Yeah, I'm over the sleeve stuff. I don't know how much longer that deal with Dragon Shield is going to go for those unique sleeves, but I say that with like my heart of Fyendel sleeves over here.
Right, you got a box.
Yeah, but like, I mean, like I'm kind of over the sleeves now. They, sleeves only last for a couple events, so.
Yeah, all
Oh,
mine are
for
still
sure.
sealed in my closet. I don't know what I'm ever do with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I threw mine on the ground pretty hard. Eric's like, you won't drop those. I'm like, bet. Now they're just in a pile.
That's how the worst decisions happen.
Right? The worst. Or the funnest. The memorable. The greatest.
Yeah, so like that's
Um,
like, in all honesty, like outside of just like competitive rulings and stuff like that, like very what I would consider very minor things. The only like things on my checklist that I really want LSS to improve upon is like scheduling out these big tournaments. Give us more than 6 months advance. Let us know where they're at so we can book our stuff. And
mhm.
then like the promos. Like the promos have just been like, I don't know what's going on with that situation. So I would love for LSS to actually stick with something and go with that moving forward, because I think that kind of, it paints an expectation, and I think when you don't meet that expectation as well, like, you start having problems. So
No, without a doubt.
Yeah, I thought
So,
Uprising was perfect in every way. Like everything about Uprising was just perfect. The way they did the promos, the rarities, everything about that set was just beautiful to me. So the armory promos included, they had the Searing Ember's Blade, the Waning Moon, the Storm Senkai, like it was perfect. And then out of nowhere, they're just like, oh, Yoji. It's like, what even is this? And then it's like Quicksilver Dagger. It's like, I don't want these cards at all.
yeah, man, I remember when they were like, yeah, we're gonna have a Starvo for Dynasty, right? After Uprising,
I was
and
so
I was like,
excited.
oh, there's gonna be like, they're gonna make someone draconic, and then they come out with Arachne, and it's just like wah wah.
I know, right? I was like, oh, I was so stoked. Do you think they might make the Emperor ever like a CC hero like they did with Icelander at Everfest?
No, he's dead.
No.
He's got assassinated. I think that they're
Well,
sticking
what if
with
he's
that.
like reanimated or something?
I
They
think
go
that's how they
zombie onto
introduced
that.
the Necromancer class,
That-
actually. I was talking with my friends about this.
That could be
Oh,
sweet. Yeah,
that
go on.
sounds like something they would do, man.
All right.
Like a Necromancer hero could reanimate the Emperor as an ally or something.
I think it's I think it's so funny that you say that, because like a lot of like our speculation on like Necromancer, like within our internal team, has been around like, oh, where they're probably going to bring Necromancer in is when they go to the Savage Lands. But like with the announcement that they're only going to focus on like talents and classes that have been already released from like here forward, like it's just like the drums of the Savage Lands, that it felt like they were close, but like they keep getting pushed out like a year back every time. Like,
just quieter and quieter.
yeah.
They're fading.
So like I am curious when we are gonna get that Necromancer, because I do want to see it. I thought it'd be partnered in with the Savage Lands, which I was hoping would be this next year, but I don't think it's happening anytime soon.
Do we know when they announce the next set, or where it'll at least take place at? Because you'd imagine that'd be soon, right?
I haven't looked at the website for that, and yeah, I feel like that's the only place we would get that information from. But I would imagine sometime in Q1 or Q2, probably end of Q1 is
Okay.
or beginning of Q2 is when I would expect for a set release to happen. Just because we are kind of getting through our ProQuest season in January, so I expect that there would be an announcement soon, if there isn't one already.
Almost definitely. Sweet. Any other great topics we want to go over, guys?
No, I think I've voiced most of my grievances.
I love the grievances.
Yeah, we've been bashing the game the whole time, but I do love Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
And all these complaints I have would be 10 times more in any other TCG,
Yeah, that's the thing.
No, it's a great game.
The problems that we mention, and that especially that I mentioned specifically, it may seem like all I do is complain, but at the end of the day, it's something that I'm passionate about. I haven't stopped buying cards, and hopefully we'll have some videos of what I'm opening and what we're investing in as a team. So this is a game that we love. It's just that just with all new things and all games, like there are some pricing issues that come up, or just issues with certain rules or that kind of regulation. So I think it's just important to air those and then move forward from there. So it's just important not to keep on harping on the same topics over and over and over again.
Right, that would be awesome to get a Team Sneep collection video and just see all of your stuff.
That'd be
I won't show everything, but
yeah, it's under lock and key. That's so cool.
I just like looking at cards, so I want to see.
Yeah,
Cool.
for sure. I think that's something that like a lot of people don't necessarily do, is really show off their collections in this game. I think Saint does it a little bit, but like I think he tries to not be too big of a shill. I think. So,
right.
I think it's good on him, but I do plan on doing some experiments on just opening up mail day video stuff. So
yeah, what cards been tested better than others? Just the classics.
Do Fables bend the same way legendaries do? You got tested.
Exactly. It's needed to know. From my experience, they bend a lot worse.
Just kind of as like a final topic, something that like I would love to open is a fake card.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Blake did get the pleasure.
I feel like there have been like a couple fake card videos that came out, and they were all kind of centered around Arcane Rising Unlimited specifically. And those it seemed to be the biggest one. But I've looked at every single card that I've purchased like since that started happening. I haven't found like a single fake card, and I've really been aiming for it. So I'm hoping one of these days.
Out the nets.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Oh man, yeah, no, it's possible. Maybe one of these days we'll get lucky and buy fake cards.
Well, yeah, I think so.
That would be so lucky.
I would be so grateful just to have my $100 card be not real.
I mean, look, you can always get a refund, but I want to see one with my two eyes. I need to.
No,
I need to know.
Feel it, smell it, lick it.
I need to feel the disappointment myself, right?
Right, Sam.
Oh god,
So,
yeah, that's fair.
So with that being said, Staxwell, do you have any socials or anything that you want to shout out before we close?
Just my team YouTube channel. It is Team Blade Break. But that's really it. That's all I want to shout out.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure.
Oh, for sure. No, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I could talk Flesh and Blood all day, so if I get to jump on here and help you guys out, that's even better.
Too good. Well, thanks for listening, watching, subscribing, everyone out there that tunes into this. We appreciate you greatly. Until the next time, keep fabbing.
Thanks.